Hi everybody, how are you? I'm adjusting a little bit because I don't know how you see me. Okay, we will be talking about the connection of the soul and the body tonight. Why? Because this is one of the uh, stations of spiritual realm that we go into. And this is actually the last place where I take my clients, and this is where I finish a session. So I won't be talking here about uh, voicing and giving voice to your body. We do that, and we do that in the beginning. We can talk to the parts of your body that have that are creating some problems for you, that are maybe you have a disease, or you have a disconnect to, or sometimes there are certain memories that are there, and we use those sensations that come up during a session as a portal, and then you sort of go through that portal or read the energies that are there. So we use your body during the session, but when we talk to your body and to the parts of your body that are giving you some challenges, this is not the same as the bit that I just mentioned. This is a somatic therapy, and this is something that probably needs to be done before you even go to the spirit world, to the higher realms where the soul lives, because you won't be able to go there unless you connect to that part of yourself. So sometimes we have to do the body work, somatic therapy work, or voicing before we even go to the past life or to the spiritual world. And when we go to the past life, sometimes clients don't see anything, and sometimes they have physical sensations. So then is when we use physical sensations, and basically we don't talk to those parts of your body. You breathe into those parts of your body, and we use it as a portal to this other dimension, to this other life that you lived. And usually it's when after a while client gets a story from there, the story that's written there. So the memories of your past experiences, as well as they're written in your energy and your DNA, they can be in your body. And some physical difficulties and some diseases that you may have in this lifetime maybe come from there, because they are inviting you to look at them because of that. And sometimes you might have a disease, and sometimes even maybe a serious disease. There is a symptom, and it has nothing logically and linearly to do. I'm sorry, it's my bad English. To do with the initial cause, but we are looking through those portals. We're looking for the cause of this disease, and the story that might come out might be something completely different that has nothing to do with the body symptoms that you now have. But this imprint, sort of speaking, in your body, I will call it like that, but imprint can be something else too, is a memory that's written, and it became symptomatic after a while because of a certain reason, because it's time for you now to look at what's going on there, and where your energy is stuck, and where you disassociated or disconnected from your own energy and from your own soul. You can also be disconnected from your and disassociated from your body, because when some trauma happens, usually a very big trauma, that's a life-threatening experience, or somebody else in your surroundings has a life-threatening experience, and you are witnessing it, or it's a physical trauma or psychological trauma, like abuse or violence, or a psychological abuse. Our soul tends to leave our body, and we hover around our body not wanting to come back because the soul doesn't want to experience this. So sometimes with people and clients who have near-death experiences, you will hear reports like this, that just prior minutes or seconds before something happened, they left their body, and they didn't feel physically, or they felt very little. But they were either observing what was going on. Some of them do remember, or remember in dreams, but most of them don't, and they do remember experiences like this, and what they saw, what they observed, and what was happening around their body and in spirit realm while they were still there around the body. So basically, the soul, you didn't die at that moment, although you can. I mean, you left your body, and people who had near-death experience or clinical death, they do leave their body, but some report stories like that they went somewhere and they saw some other realm, and some other beings or guides or family members waited for them there, and they came back, and they came back in the body, and then they sometimes don't remember what happened during the accident or the operation table, whatever, because they were not there, the soul was not there, and they report this during the session. And there are many cases like this, and you probably read about cases like this about afterlife, what happens after we die. And this is how it first actually started. But at the moment, I'm not talking about this. This can be the cause of the problem. This trauma that made you leave your body can be the cause of the problem, and this is why maybe your body is giving you symptoms now where you're disconnected because of, I don't know, I mean, sometimes it can be a memory, but sometimes it doesn't have to be memory. Something happened during this lifetime and you left your body. Some experience made you leave your body, and you are disconnected from that part of yourself or your entire body, and you don't feel grounded, and you cannot connect to your body properly because you left your body at some point to be able to survive something. And this is nothing unusual. We leave our bodies during moments of trauma because it's a survival mechanism. We need to survive that moment. But it's not good, and it's not good for us when this continues. Because if we don't return fully in our bodies, it means we don't want to be here. Because we're still in this moment of trauma, we have not processed that moment, and this is why we cannot connect to our bodies. This is one point where we can be disassociated with our bodies. But then also what I hear from my clients, and what I've learned from myself and from my clients too, is that sometimes we cannot connect to our bodies because we were too much in this past life, some other life experience that we were maybe I had a client who was a boy and who only had earthly lives of a child, and she couldn't connect to her female body fully because she has never been a grown-up woman before, and she didn't have physical problems, but she had problems of not seeing herself properly and not believing people who would tell her that she was beautiful and that she's a gorgeous woman, which she is. And that was one of the things that came out when we asked about that. And the other thing that can happen is that you can either have a lifetimes of one sex. Maybe you were constantly female, and then you decide to have one male life, and then you come in a male body, and you cannot fully understand the way it functions, and that's why you cannot connect to it. Or maybe you looked completely different in other lives, like maybe you were female, but you looked very different. You were maybe taller or more beautiful, or had more energy, different energy, or you were maybe having lives that are off planet, on another planets, and you looked completely different, and in that other bodies, alien bodies, and you cannot connect to the earthly human body because you don't understand it, because your earthly human body speaks a different language than the alien bodies, and then most probably like your energy does. That was my problem, actually. My soul speaks a different language than my body does. It's a different frequency, and I had sessions. I had hypnotherapy sessions, but I didn't learn how to function in a hypnotherapy session. I had other energy sessions where we were teaching my energy to speak earthly. It's as if you, I don't know, you suddenly go to China or Japan and everybody's speaking Chinese or Japanese and you don't understand them. You hear them, but you don't understand them, and you cannot function properly because you don't understand what anybody's saying. And you do your best, but still it's a bit challenging. So yeah, that can be an issue too, especially if the frequency of your soul, the energy of your soul, and especially if the previous lives that you had were higher frequency, because the earth frequency is denser, and this is why we came here to experience this density, and then it can happen that you don't understand the body very well, and that the soul and the body doesn't communicate very well. So your body doesn't start in your mind, and it's not the mind-body connection. You don't fix your body by using your mind and using affirmations. That will never work. And the part that I'm talking about now is the soul and body connection, because if all of your parts, our body, our physical body is the last part. Everything starts in the spiritual realm, in the soul realm. We create everything there, including our bodies. And this is what I'm actually talking about. This is why the last part where we go, the last station that we visit during the spiritual regression is the moment when we chose our bodies. So my clients usually report to me that they have other options than this body, and usually two to three. Some more, and some say that they only have this option, and none of them, maybe one, told me that they saw that they are creating the body. I saw it like that. I saw that I'm creating my body, that I didn't have my guides were not helping me choose my body. But usually what I hear from people, and I call this place the orientation room. I don't know if this is a library, because everything for me that we go visit there is a library. Everything is Akasha. So I call this place an orientation room, and their clients usually tell me that they see screens, and on those screens they see these bodies and the lives that these bodies would live. So why is this important? This is important, or not, one, because you will receive more insights about yourself during this process. Two, because you discover that you had options and that you chose this option for a certain reason, and this body has a function the way it is, and there is a reason why you chose this particular body and why you chose the life that this body would live, because when you choose the body, you choose the life that this body would live, and it would live, and all the actors that are in it. I mean, all the scenario with the body, you choose the scenario that this body will have during a lifetime, and the place where the body will live. So I've had clients who told me that they chose their body, for instance, because of the place where they would live, because there they would be more accepted than in other places. But then they had other challenges and other difficulties, because all these choices, they have certain challenges coming with themselves, because those challenges are learning points for you. And while you choose the body, you choose the difficulty of those learning points, and according to how in the previous times when you lived on earth or in other planes, you overcame them, and what is it that you need to learn here. So the body is helping you learn your lessons here, the lessons on earth, and now in this process, you actually discover that this body is actually perfectly helping you to learn your lessons here and do what you're supposed to do your mission here. And if you had chosen another body, it would look differently. Maybe you would have the same mission, but it would look differently. For instance, I had a client who told me that she was choosing, she had an options of 2 male bodies and 1 female. She is a female, and she's in energy work, spiritual work too. So she chose a female body because this body would help her to work with women. And she mostly works with women. She has a group which is predominantly female group, and she works with them. And it's helping her to connect better to them and to understand them better. This doesn't mean she wouldn't be able to do that in male bodies, but it would be more difficult, and they would have other difficulties and other diseases, like she said. Some tell me that they chose the body because it's a healthy body, and it would give them strength to go through the challenges and through the life that it's supposed to live. Some tell me that it's psychologically stable, that they will be psychologically stable and mentally stable, and this is why they chose this body. And some tell me it's because of the particular lesson and particular karma, if you want to call it like that they need to finish. And this is what they usually tell me. Some see this place as skins that were hanged, or just bodies like laying somewhere on tables, but usually it's screens. And this is how I actually usually see, not in a session, I didn't see this in a session, but I saw it in dreams. I usually see screens and a hand, usually female hand that moves the screens, or sometimes male hand. Yeah, you see the lives that these bodies would live, and according to the lives and the challenges and the major learning points, you then decide with your guides and other beings that are creating the body. But usually clients tell me that there are guides that discuss with them. They make a choice. I didn't see it like that. I saw that I project my body from my soul is actually creating it. I'm not quite sure exactly how, but I think, well, I actually got a lesson on that, because I mentioned in the Serbian video that I had, the minute I decided that I'll make this video, I had the water issues stopped. I had no more water issues, but I had health issues. And there was something that appeared and in a certain place in my body. And then after that video, I did go to see a doctor, and before doing that, I just sat down and I I meditated, but I also had I worked with cacao too. And I know I've been mentioning that I don't work with other people with cacao. I only use it for myself so far. But obviously, I'm in service of it, because I've been mentioning it a lot, and it's been teaching me a lot during this. And usually, I do see things and I have messages, but now I didn't. It just felt like my soul just stepped down into the body, and I saw I had this information, not an image. It was an information. A knowing that I have to imagine, like that I have a thread that is golden violet thread, and that I'm sewing with this thread, this place. It was not a wound, so I don't know why I had to sew, but I had to imagine that I'm sewing, and this is how I was lifting in energy. And the way I was sewing, I would use the symbol of infinity, and I would use this thread, and it was violet and golden, and it was supposed to be lifting vibration of this place. And I suppose the other spiritual energies and cacao and whoever was helping me in my soul was extracting something during this process. And actually, it worked. When I went to see a doctor, there was nothing there. And she told me that there was nothing here. So I was this a learning point, or now I'm still waiting for some results. But I'm beginning to think of myself as I'm a hypochondriac a little bit, but I always do check things like that. So I'm saying this because usually a lot of my clients do have physical sensations before coming to the session and during the session, and I do. Everything is physical with me. Whatever I do, whether it's a session of hypnotherapy or energy session or work with plants, everything is physical. Every cleansing is physical with me. So I have to check. I mean, whenever something happens that I don't, there are strange symptoms that I've never had before, or something is happening with my body, because my body is telling me what's happening on the inside too. My body is directing me where to look and why there, and something is there that I need to pay attention to. So from what I saw, because the same was happening when I was going to the training, hypnotherapy training. I was visiting a doctor almost every day before I went there. It's enough that sometimes I just take a look, and then things get smoother. And I'm a channel, so I also in a way ground energy, so a lot goes through me. So I need to tend to my body, and my body really wants to be tended. And that's what was strange for my soul, because all of a sudden I mean my soul didn't understand my body at all, and I had lifetimes of being dismembered, being mutilated, being physically abused, and I worked on why I cannot release pain, and this is why it all came out. So I've spoken about it, that I had a problem with my spine, I had hernia, and then the person who helped me with it, physical therapist and a chiropractor, he told me that this is from scoliosis and this is what you have from your childhood. I never had this in childhood. I mean, I have doctor's reports to prove it. It just showed up. And this was the most serious thing that I ever had to work on. No, well, not the most serious, but I was very young at that other time. So I didn't work on it in this way. And I had to tend to it energetically and physically and spiritually. So I was reading what was in there, and I saw what was in there, and I saw the story that was behind. But when I worked energetically on it through energy sessions, that actually helped me so that my vertebrae stays in place, that doesn't move. It was because of a lot of sitting, and I'm a person who needs to move. I'm a mover, and it's because a movement is change, and I need to be in a flow. When I sit a lot, I'm not in a flow, and the energy does flow, but it gets stored at some point, and wherever there is something that needs to be tended, it becomes a problem. And I didn't work at that point. I didn't do hypnotherapy at that point. That's how I got to hypnotherapy after that. I fixed that problem, but I had to work on my body too, not just, with my mind imagining things, but I had to do physical exercises and everything else that is needed. And actually, when I was younger and when I was not sitting this much as I'm sitting now, I also had problems with my body because of, and this I was told that it's the energy issues, because I collect a lot from the surroundings, and my energy, and it usually doesn't stay, but my energy is very sensitive. My channel is so very sensitive, and the energy frequency is somehow different. And I was really sick when I was constantly sick, and I spoke about it. It's because of the hybrid soul issue, and I didn't know that at the time, but I learned how to tend to my body, and I needed really to learn what my body needs and what my body wants. And I literally learned to talk to my body. So every day when I have a certain sensation, I wake up and I have some sensation in my body that was not there the day before, I do take a look what's going on there. And I used to do that even when I was younger. It came natural to me, and I worked psychologically on that issue because I knew from young age that I need to move a lot. I need to walk a lot. I need to run. And I was actually practicing Aikido, and I was dancing afterwards because I need to move. My energy needs to flow, and it needs to move, and I need to move my body because movement is change, and I'm a change maker. My energy, not just by physically and by what I say, my energy is the energy of change that instigates, that provokes change, and I change all the time. I'm constantly changing, and I really have problems connecting with my body because I do change a lot, and I did look very different, and also because of this, because my soul did not understand the body at all. And it's like in a virtual reality game. Okay, body, now I'm gonna go, and I don't really care what happens to you. And I really did not have lives that were past 40, and I actually didn't see them. I was following one thread, a life of a woman. I was actually, the all lives that I've seen were female lives. I was a woman. Probably I had male lives, but I didn't see any of them. But I was looking to what needs to be healed. So I was following this thread, and this was a very wounded woman. The wound that I was carrying, at least on earthly plane, was this from the Amazon when I was sacrificed. And the wound was in the womb, in front, because this is where the knife hit me in the abdomen and was kind of open. And my belly was open. And yeah, I was following that thread. I was following the thread of my spine, actually, and other issues. And then I came to this, and I was not able to release. And I stored all of the pain in this area, in my second chakra, back and front. And I had to move because of it a lot, because this is where you move your hips, and you sort of move your energy. So when I practiced Aikido, I was actually learning how to move energy, and I did not know that at the time because I was younger. And I learned that through a client who came, and she was told, because she had a similar issue with her body and not being able to connect properly to her body, and they were teaching her how to work with energy, and she was told to practice Tai Chi, and this will help her channel energy and transmit it. And I was learning through Aikido to move energy, because Aikido is in movement, and you cannot basically do anything, and you cannot do much in my size. I'm not too tall, and everybody else were bigger and stronger than me, and male mostly. And I had to learn how to do everything with energy. So I learned how to tend and move energy. And then when I danced, I learned how to express my energy, because that was my issue from one previous lifetime. And because I couldn't connect to it properly, I actually had problems in of my photo being taken, because I didn't want to take my own photo, anybody else to take my own photo, and I couldn't connect to the image, and nobody actually really knows how to take my photo, because I was terrified from camera. And I actually did a session on that to see why I was terrified from camera, because I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this if I hadn't done it. So what came out was that I was this dancer in, I don't know, maybe second World War, I think, time. I was a very known dancer and very good dancer, prima ballerina somewhere in Russia or Ukraine or something like that. And that woman really knew how to connect, how to ground, and how to project her soul, and how to let it shine. But then bad things happen, and I couldn't. I'm not allowing myself to shine, mainly and basically because of all these lifetimes when I was tortured, tormented. I was even eaten at some point, or parts of my body, because I'm afraid for my body. I'm afraid what's going to happen if I project my energy, and it was actually moving a lot of my unhealed issues. And while I was working on these issues, I was also learning. So my body was also teaching me, and it's still teaching me. But through our soul, we actually can mend those issues. So I'm not a healer, and I'm not saying that and I'm not offering that I'm gonna heal somebody through the session, although that can happen, but that depends on a client, not me, and of the belief system of a client, and of the issue, the difficulty of the issue, and of whatever needs to be done. But you can receive information of what you need to do, and what's best for you, and what's the best course of action for you to heal. I did not have that many clients who had physical issues, who had diseases and illnesses. I did have them, and I did have a few of them who were terminal, who were quite serious illnesses, and they wanted to see the reason for it. And the reason was in the past life, or when they couldn't forgive something to themselves. So those kind of difficulties usually are there, and you place them there for yourself because you are not able to forgive something to yourself. So in a way, yeah, you are punishing yourself because of your wrong belief, because you believe you have to suffer and punish yourself, but you can release that. You don't have to. That's what it's difficult for people to understand, that they don't have to. They really don't have to. And one other thing is, possibly they don't see everything that's lying behind, but they don't understand. The main part is that not all of my clients can go to this place, or even if they go, they don't connect properly, and they don't understand why am I taking them there. And some ask me, well, am I fat? So why are you asking me all these questions? Or don't I look good? It's not about that. It's because you chose this scenario and the way this body will live, including your illnesses, your physical challenges, and the way you will look because of a certain reason. And this is why we go there. So everything starts there, on that place, from that point, and you decide with yourself, your soul, and your guides, how will you live, and what diseases will you have, and what car accidents. If you have a major car accident, or major issues like you're having some diseases, or I don't know. I had a client. I'm just thinking whether this is the proper place to mention her. I had a client who had a near-death experience, and she was a teenager at the time, and she did remember it, and she did process it, but she had physical problems because it was a serious car accident, and she had serious physical problems years after, so she couldn't accept those physical problems. So we worked on that, and during this, she remembered actually. She was really deep, and she did remember what was going on during this time while she was out of her body. And she was hit by somebody opened. She was riding a bike, and somebody opened the door of the car, and she was hit by this door, and she fell, and she broke her hip bone. And then the bus caught her jacket, the string of her jacket, and it was dragging her along the street for a while. And she could have easily went under the bus, but she didn't. And what was going on at that moment was that she saw during the session that her soul was standing next to her, but she saw the light, and the light was placing her in a position of fetus. And somebody was telling her, you have to go through this now. And then she was she felt safer, as if in a cocoon at that moment. And when I asked her, she didn't go, oh, under the bus. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Now, look at this fact that her hip bone broke, and she was there for she was in the hospital afterwards for a long time to fix her leg, which she still has problems with sometimes. But the thread of the jacket didn't snap, which is, like very thin. So she survived that. So when I asked her why did you need this experience, it was traumatic. For the first thing that she told me, but there was no trauma. This is not trauma. My soul was born at this moment. And this is why people usually choose this kind of experiences that are difficult and challenging for the body, when they want to accept their soul in their bodies very fast, and the energy of the soul when they want to awaken. And afterwards she became psychic, and she's working with other people, but she also had other issues that she cannot, because she was giving herself too much, and she feels that she doesn't have herself when she gives herself. But that's another issue. She was also told something what to do there, right? I cannot mention it now. And anyway, that was surprising for me, but that's what she said. My soul was born there. I was born at that moment. So there is no trauma. And this is why some people choose experience like this. And I asked her, why did you choose this experience? And then she said, because if I die, and if I kill myself, I die, and then I revive myself again, and I'm alive again, then I can do anything. So I can just sit with that for a minute. If I die, if I kill my body, and then I'm alive again, and if I resurrect, I can do anything. So deep down inside of her, there is this notion that she can do anything. She's an older soul. And people who are older souls and want to transcend the body sometimes do choose experiences like this. I've had clients who spoke about resurrection too. But I don't want to speak about that now. They lost somebody in the family, and during the session, this soul was telling us about resurrection, and it's theirs. It's theirs to speak about it, not mine. And I can only speak about it when it's my time to jump in. So I cannot talk about it now. No, they wouldn't mind, but I don't feel it as mine, and I cannot speak about that now. But in a way, this is. You can think about. I've been mentioning my mentor too, teacher of hypnotherapy, who had a lightning that hit him, and he also had a near-death experience, and he had problems with his body. He needed to learn how to help his body afterwards, and this is how he came to learn to work with souls and do what he does. So this is how it goes, but you don't have to go through this. She was saying that on a soul level, there is no trauma, and she knew she can do it. And this is what I was told, for instance, when I had problems. I usually, because of the quality of the energy, whenever Earth jumps and has and ascends a bit, and something changes in the Earth energy, because my soul needs to adapt and learn new language, something happens to my body. And there was an issue like 2 years ago that I woke up and I this vertebrae here moved, and I couldn't get up from the bed, and I couldn't move my head. I just lie down like straight, and I didn't feel my body. I could move hands and my body, but I didn't feel it. But I couldn't move my head because every movement was hurting like hell, and I couldn't grab my phone to call for help because it was next to my bed and I couldn't reach it. And it lasted for an hour, and eventually I did call for help. But this happened while I was sleeping. I didn't do anything. I didn't do any exercises or anything and I remember what I saw just before I woke up. I saw the female hand that was here, something here. I actually have my nerve is cut here from my childhood. It's broken here, and it doesn't go anywhere, and I can't hear on this here for 80%. I can't hear, and it's I mean, I wasn't working on it, but I was told that something was there. And then afterwards, because I was working on what happened, what was that dream about? So I saw the female hand that was unscrewing something here and taking something out that looked like you know, when you want to attach something to, I mean, I don't know the word in English, so you use a screwdriver for that. I don't know what's the word for shaft. So anyway, took it out and took this something that was in there and removed it and put something different and then fixed it again as if I had an operation. It was male and female hand, but male and female hand, but mostly female. And it was as if I had an operation then. I mean, it was an operation on some level. And when we worked in the session, because of this, because I did have some pain here afterwards, and I did have a hematoma here even, and I went to see a doctor, and she was like, there is no reason why would you have this swelling here. I mean, I'm not lying to you people. I mean, I do have doctors' reports about these, and then then what I was told during the session, like my therapist asked, you know, what's going on? Why all these body issues with her? I mean, what's happening? And well, we were told, oh well, but she knows that she can fix her body from a higher level whenever she wants. I was like, yeah, but it still hurts. Why like that? Why something like that? And they were like, well, it's because she needs to experience it and understand that there is no separation from the spiritual and physical material plane, and to speak from experience to the others. And yeah, I guess this is this is what I'm trying to tell you, and this is what I hear from my clients. And this is what this client also told me. I mean, I did not have an experience like that in my lifetime. Luckily and thankfully, I did even have a benign tumor, for instance, but that also disappeared. That was when I was a lot younger. I was like 20 something years ago, and that was the moment when I decided, like, listen, buddy, I want to move. I want to move around. I can't be sick all the time. I just can't be sick. So either give in or just tell me what to do. So I learned how to deal with my body, and I sort of lately, because I was sitting a lot and not paying too much attention as I used to, it started dragging my attention in this way, and this is how it goes. It's your body is grabbing your attention in the only ways that it can, but I still believe that you don't need to go through diseases and car accidents and stuff like that to be awakened, so that your soul can be born in your body in a different ways. And the sessions that I do are one of those ways. And this is what I see, and this is why this is the last bit where we go, because if we hadn't done the work, the prior work, everything that we do before we come there, from childhood and womb and everything till we come to the moment there, you wouldn't be able to receive this energy. And basically, and what's happening to us, and I saw it from my own experience, and now I'm seeing it all around because of the ascension of the earth and the new energy that the earth is receiving, and all of us with the earth, because our bodies are off earth. Our bodies are earthly things, and earth is giving them life, and it's making them in that other realm. It's going through our bodies, and it's pushing out the old energy and everything old that was written in our energy, so that we can receive this new energy. So this is why so many people lately are having so many physical challenges. less serious or more serious, and everybody is working on them in the best way they know how. And usually we tend to do this in the way that it's familiar to us. But you can work on those issues in this way too. And when you're given advices on what you need to do with your body, my advice is to listen to those advices, because nobody's telling you here not to visit a doctor and listen to what they're telling you. But with all that, do use these alternatives that you're giving to yourself when you receive them in a session. So sometimes it's not all over in the affirmations and mind and work on mental mind, because that's not going to work on body. I mean, in these higher realms, what happens when we do this? I usually invite the soul, and then your soul scans your body, and when it scans your body, we will look for challenges that might not be yet developed in your body, or something that is attached to your body, or a scent, or whatever it may be. Because from my own physical challenges, I've learned that everything goes through the body, and as long as we are there, we might take a look at it and work on it before it actually developed in the body. And we usually pay attention if the client tells me that there is something that we need to pay attention to or talk to, or we just ask the soul to clear it. And usually clients just choose for the soul to clear it because they don't want to talk to these energies. And there are other hypnotherapists that use this method. This is something that I've learned when I had my own QHHT sessions, and I sort of adapted it to my own work because I've seen it work, and I think it's really good. And this is where we basically worked on all these issues before coming here, and especially during when we visited this past life. And then especially when you work with a council of elders, because they do fix your energy and everything is in your energy. But then you still get some insights of what's going on with you in this way. And I do this before I invite your soul to come into your body more, and to ground it more, to be more present in your body. And we have to do this last scan to see if there is anything else that it's going to be a hindrance for that, an obstacle. So we remove a little bit of all those obstacles. And then I ask the client to see how much of their own energy they brought with them when they came to this lifetime, and if they need more, and if they can have more, and if they can have more, then I invite the soul to give them more. How I know about this is because of my myself again, because I mentioned when I had this issue with the spine, when I went to the group sessions that actually directed me to this work, that I was given small bottle or something like that, some liquid that was golden liquid, and I was given this by my guides. They sort of poured it into my mouth and my throat. And later on I discovered while reading Michael Newton that this is the soul essence, and I was topped up. And this is what basically during this body scan you can top up your energy, and so that you can finish what you're supposed to do, and you can replenish and rejuvenate yourself in a way. And then I invite your soul to come fully into your body so that you can be fully present, so that soul is fully present and awake in your body. And this is why I finish this process there in this way, because I invite you to awaken. And this is where I give you suggestions of your soul being fully awakened and present here and now, in this dimension, in this earthly plane, in this incarnation, in this body. So your soul is fully present, fully awake, here and now, in this body, in this incarnation, in this dimension, here and now. And this is why basically you came to see me, because you needed to awaken your soul and be fully present, that your soul is fully present in your body. And there are other instances that you can go and see. And some clients do, some didn't, but this is basically where we finish the session, because at some point it becomes too much for clients, and I feel that as a flat energy, or too much heat, or just too much. And sometimes my feet become really cold, as if a part of me just left my feet. So that usually means that something else is happening on some of the planes, and I'm not consciously aware of it, and I don't really know what happens, because I'm minding the client at that moment. But yeah, it happened couple of times for me, and that also means that, you know, it's nearly the end of the session, because it became a bit too much for the therapist too. Yeah, and what else about the body? Can you fix your illnesses? I mean, I worked. My brother has a cerebral palsy from birth, and I've done 3 sessions with him. These 3 sessions, and that doesn't mean he changed his body, and his body is completely healthy and without physical challenges anymore. Can that happen? I don't know. His belief system, he doesn't believe that this can happen, and this is the most important thing. So but he received his information, and from what I see is that he has more energy and he's more stable, because his main difficulties are in he's movable and he moves around and he's independent, but they're in muscle tension and stability. So he's more stable, and his speech. So he's more stable than he used to be, but he has other challenges, like more psychological challenges than physical challenges. And those ones are sometimes harder to work on, especially since I mentioned in the previous videos that we don't usually work on some psychological issues with hypnosis. It's not recommendable. So that's one of the things. But I have seen people who worked on their body issues in this way. And why am I mentioning all this? I mean, I had also this client who was during this time when we were in this realm. She was telling me that she was receiving some codes for herself for some new abilities, and something new that she will have to do with her mission, and this was developing, but this was also being imprinted in her body, and her guides were working, her soul was working on her body in this way too, because she had this issue that she was not present. We worked on this. Why was she not never present in her body? And then we followed from the womb. Well, even sometimes in the womb, when I ask the soul, how do you feel about this body? And these people tell me, oh, it's really small. I cannot fit. I feel contained. I feel detained. I feel like I'm in prison. How can I fit here? And then I ask them, are you all the time with this baby, or you go somewhere? And they usually tell me that they constantly go somewhere, and then we follow where they go. So we follow with this client, where was she going when she's not present. And then we went to this other realm where she was an alien being who's living underwater, but on the surface too, and she was alone there. There was a lot of nature, and she felt really, really free there, because everything was there for her, and she was creating things there. And she would collect things like sand and leaves and branches and stuff, and she would take them to the underground pyramid, and then she would send this through this to this other dimension, which is here. And she was creating this as a painter would create this painting. She was creating this reality here the skies and stars and stuff like here. That's what she said. And that's another issue. But then we worked a bit on it, and we found out that she was actually not alive. It took me a while to understand she was not alive in the reality, and she was attached to it. And then we discovered that she was this scientist who also worked with some elements and physical elements, including sand, and experimenting something, and this caused an explosion. Actually, she said that there were several planets and all planets exploded, but she didn't cause the explosion, she caused this bit of explosion, but she didn't cause the explosion of the entire system. And during this explosion, her body was her body exploded, so it was in bits and pieces. So this is why she couldn't collect herself. That was her issue. She needed to collect herself together. And then she had another lifetime when she had an accident on a boat accident, when she lost her leg. And when we went to the spirit world, the first thing that her guides did was to work on her leg. And then after, on the last bit, she saw another issue that was in her legs, and that something was attached there, because she was not connected to this part of herself. So usually when we are not connected to our energy and this part of ourselves in our body, something else can attach there. And this is another bit of why we do this, why we go there, and why, so that you can be fully present and fully aware and fully awake, so that your soul awakens in your body. So all of this talk about your ascending in your body, this is actually it, your soul being fully present in your body. These earthly energies that are arising and ascending are making us all be connected more to our souls. And the issue is, like I said, that the old programs and the old energy needs to leave, so that we can receive new codes and new energy. And this is what my client actually saw when she was receiving this. When her soul was coming into her body, she was seeing some runes or some strange symbols, and I interpreted that as a light language and sacred geometry. And this is how our bodies are actually made on this level, through light language and sacred geometry, mainly through sacred geometry. And this is what I mentioned in the beginning, that I use a thread, violet golden thread, an infinity symbol thread, to work on my own body. This is why I got the idea. Actually, the idea that just came to me at that moment. And yeah, this is what happens during the session, and this is why you actually need this part very much, and this is very, very important part. But there are clients that are it's difficult for them to go there, and then some can't go there because they are not ready to accept the fact that they are choosing everything, that they even chose, that they wrote a scenario that they will live, that they will play out, that they even chose their diseases and their accidents and the other actors in their life. And even though we go through all these other instances, this is what some even that go through all of these process, even after the sessions, for some of them, this is not quite clear yet. And it takes time to become clear. And then I had clients who went perfectly through all this, and then they didn't understand that they create everything on that level. And then they come, I just took mushrooms and stuff, and then they told me how I create everything from that level. And I'm like, what? And what did I do with you for 4 hours? Like something like that. But it's a process, and it takes time. So basically, this is something you cannot do on your own. I didn't see anybody who could do that on their own, because this is what your soul is doing. It's not the therapist. It's not me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm making the space for you to do this, for your soul and your guides to do this way. But basically, this is what the soul does, and you cannot go to that level unless you clear all the other issues. I do group sessions on this issue, but it's different because you cannot. Clients usually don't get to go there, like in a group session. but we talk to the body and we talk to the light that creates your body, and we work with the light on the issues that you might be having, and we ask for advices for what you can do. So yeah, I think I basically said everything. You can work. You I don't have anything to recommend you to read about or listen to, because this is all of what I've learned from my clients and myself. You can read The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, because he mentions of something similar of our beliefs. He's talking about beliefs, but there are parts where he's talking that we are just receivers of the energy, and that energy doesn't change when the receiver is not there anymore. Our bodies are vehicles for our soul. Like I mentioned about those dragons, that I was told that they are biological machines. I won't say that we are biological machines, but we are vehicles for our soul, and our soul needs to feel at home in this vehicle. And sometimes, like I said, because of all sorts of issues that I just mentioned, sometimes we just don't feel at home in this vehicle, and there are ways to work on that too, and we don't have to create all sorts of dramas and the pain scenarios for ourselves to be awakened. We can do it in this way. You can also listen to and read Joe Dispenza, especially You Are the Placebo. He works a lot on this, and he's very good at it. And I've listened to his meditations. But his meditations, I can tell you that they have subliminal messages, because I see them. They run, and at some point I see them. They're positive. They're in English, and I see them. They have birds and butterflies and stuff like that. And you're feeling great. You're great. You're successful, stuff like that. And they run very fast. Sometimes I don't catch them, but because I've done that, I've worked with his meditations for a while, I can tell you that there are subliminal messages there. And what I've been reading lately in the energies, also, I mean, I've had some energy coming this way when just before I wake up, and I saw. I usually see light language, but I didn't see that now. I saw Arabic inscriptions. I don't know what's written there, but it was making me sick. It was making me felt like metal energy, and it was not making me feel very, very well. So this is, I think it's around here, what's in the collective, in the air or whatever. I don't know why I caught it or how whatever. Yeah. So I just for some reason I needed to mention this, and that's influencing us too. That's why I needed to mention it. That's influencing our bodies, and we're not aware that we're reading the energies around us all the time, and they are influencing our bodies. And by becoming aware of how you can help your body and change the vibration in this frequency, you don't become immune to this, but you know to help yourself, and you work through those issues faster. Sometimes, like I've been told, that there is no I'm the energy frequency that I am, and this energy is the way it is, and those issues will be there. I just learned how to go through them, and I'll go through them faster when I go through them consciously and when I know what to do with myself. So this is why I learned that my body needs movement. Like I said, movement is change. Like even when you do this is changing something, and when you change from one spot to the other, it's changing something. And for me, my energy was being brought down more into my body when I move, because I feel that's how you feel alive. And basically, you will tell, some clients can tell me now that, and they do tell me that they don't want to be here, and they think that they didn't choose to be here. Some of them, even in the womb, they just see that they're just so excited to be born and to do stuff, and some don't, but they it's new for them, and they say, oh, just all the time I think how this is a shitty place and I don't want to be here, but now I see how excited I am to come here and do all these things, and it's just a new perspective. So this gives you a new perspective on yourself and your body too. So basically, I don't work on you on how to lose weight or quit smoking. Well, we can do that, but it's basically not what I do. I do help you feel better in your body and be more present in your body and fully aware of your body and fully aware of your soul, or fully be aware of your soul, so that your soul is fully present in your body. And this by itself is helping you feel better with your body and accept your body more if you have body issues. And if you maybe don't like your body for some certain thing, when you understand why you have this issue, why you have what's the reason behind it. For some clients, even with terminal diseases, this is enough, and some decide then whether they want or don't want to be here, because it's usually during the near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences, we decide whether we want to come back or not in our body. And this gives them new perspective, and this gives them understanding of their own body and why is it the way it is. And only this is helping you feel better in your body and feel it more as a home, because it's perfect the way it is. You chose it the way it is. Like for myself, I was told that my body is perfectly designed for my energy. It's just the energy around it is of lower vibration than the energy of my soul, and it cannot all the time function properly in this density. And some clients tell me when we come to the soul level, their souls actually tell me, oh God, it's hard to connect to this. I mean, this happens during the womb too. It's hard to connect to this body. It's dense, and it's going to be hard with her or him. So yeah, oh God, I've spoken a lot. I didn't even see what the time was. I didn't mean to, and I hope I'm gonna be speaking. Finally, having shorter videos, but there are so many beautiful examples and so many things that I need to say, and I just want to teach you and tell you that it is possible to be awakened in your body, and that there are ways for you to understand the unexplainable and ununderstandable things. I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, there are many things that I want to tell you and share with you, and this is why this becomes long, longer than I expected, but I just feel like I just want to share this with you, and I feel pulled and pushed to do it because it's the time. We are awakening now. We are all awakening now. It's a time for everybody, and all of our souls need to be fully present here. And this is why actually the point of the sessions that you do with me is to be awakened. So we invite your soul to be fully present here and now in this body, in this incarnation on planet Earth. Fully present and fully aware, fully awake. Thank you.